Hello everyone, my name is Nitithamakul. Today I will be presenting a pilot in vitro study titled The Effect of Nanohydroxyapatite-Containing Toothpaste on the Prevention of Enamel Erosion. Dental erosion is basically loss of enamel caused by acid, not bacteria, just chemical dissolution. It can come from external and internal sources, and for internal cause, gut is the most common. Gastric acid is very strong as pH as low as 0.9 to 1.5. Even after it's diluted and buffered by saliva, the pH in the mouth is still around 2.2. So with repeated exposure, this gradually leads to enamel loss and is irreversible. The effects can range from mild sensitivity to in more severe cases post exposure. This is why managing this not just medically but also from dental perspective is very important. Full-line containing toothpaste are the most accessible preventive strategy against dental erosion, as they can be easily incorporated into daily oral hygiene. Standard full-line is often recommended for erosion prevention because of its unique mechanism. It forms a stable acid-resistant metal-rich layer on the enamel, which is generally more durable than calcium full-line-like deposit formed by conventional full-lines. However, when it's delivered in toothpaste form, ingredients like silica abrasive and surfactant can partly inactivate the standard ion before they can reach the tooth surface, which may limit its full effectiveness. Recently, nanohydroxyapatite has been gaining attention as biomimetic alternative. It has the same mineral composition as enamel, can directly bond with the enamel surface deposit onto acid-softened areas, and act as a sacrificial barrier while also releasing calcium and phosphate to support remineralization. However, the gap is that most of evidence of nanohydroxyapatite comes from study under relative mild acid conditions. Its effectiveness under more severe and repeated acid exposure seen in goods is still limited and somewhat inconsistent. So the aim of the study is to evaluate the protective effects of commercially available nanohydroxyapatite toothpaste against enamel erosion using a 5-day in vitro erosive cycling model simulate gastric acid conditions. For this study, the inclusion and exclusion criteria were as follows. Our sample we used enamel block cut from extract human permanent molars. Each specimen was carefully polished, mounted in acrylic, and screened under our stereo microscope to make sure there were no cracks, caries, and defects that could influence our measurement. We then measure baseline surface hardness using a knob indenter, and only specimens that met the hardness inclusion criteria were included. The 18 specimens were randomly divided into three groups. Group A received a nanohydroxyapatite toothpaste, specifically by Olive, which contains 16% of nanohydroxyapatite and no fluoride. Group B received standard fluoride toothpaste, Sensodyne rapid action, and Group C was our negative control, a non-fluoride toothpaste. Our experiments was a 5-day cycling protocol designed to mimic what happens in good patient mouth. Every day, every specimen went through 3 acid challenges using hydrochloric acid at pH 2.2, which reflects the gastric pH that reaches the oral cavity in good patients after dilution by saliva. Between challenges, specimens were stored in artificial saliva to mimic the oral environment. Toothpaste treatment was applied twice a day, 1 hour after first and third acid challenge. All procedures were carried out at 37 degrees Celsius with constant agitation to better simulation of oral environment. We assessed the specimen using 2 complementary methods. First, surface microhardness, specifically the percentage change in hardness before and after the cycling. This helps us to pick up early superficial changes in enamel mineral integrity. Second, we use non-contact profilometry, which measures how much enamel has actually lost in micrometers. This reflects about tissue loss at more advanced stage. So together, these 2 methods give us more complete picture of what's happening at the enamel surface. Now let's take a look at the results. First, for surface hardness, all three groups show a significant drop in hardness after erosive cycling. When we compare the percentage hardness change across the group, the nanohydroxyapatite group showed the lowest percentage change that was statistically significant, lower than the negative control. So nanohydroxyapatite did provide some levels of surface protection. The standard fluoride group sat in the middle. While it trended better than the control, the difference wasn't statistically significant, and no significant difference was found between nanohydroxyapatite and standard fluoride group either. So in terms of surface hardness, nanohydroxyapatite performed comparably to standard fluoride. When we take a look at actual enamel loss measured by non-contact pupillometry, standard fluoride group had the lowest average loss, followed by nanohydroxyapatite group and negative control. However, none of these differences were statistically significant, so while there were trends suggesting both active toothpaste performed better, we cannot say that with confidence that either nanohydroxyapatite or standard fluoride prevent bulk enamel loss under this severe condition. So why didn't either toothpaste show significant protection? For nanohydroxyapatite, the sacrificial calcium phosphate layer is enough to partially reinforce the surface, which explains the hardness result. But under repeated acid challenge, the solution outpaced redeposition, so no bulk protection was seen. This is supported by two studies. Jung et al. In 2025 tested commercial nanohydroxyapatite formulation using citric acid at pH 2.8, applied 6 times a day over 10 days, and found no significant reduction in tissue loss. The elementary analysis also leveled that many products contain silica cores with only loosely adsorbed amorphous calcium phosphate, not true crystalline hydroxyapatite. Karaurani et al. In 2022 used a single in-office aeration application of nanohydroxyapatite powder under hydrochloric acid simulation of gastric acid, and similarly found no significant surface loss reduction even with SEM evidence of some apatite deposition on the enamel surface. For standard fluoride, the issue is likely the toothpaste formulation itself. Silica abrasive and surfactants are known to inactivate free stannous ions before they reach the enamel, and with only 2-minute application window between the 3 daily acid challenge, the protective deposit simply can't hold up. In this study, we found that nanohydroxyapatite was able to partially preserve enamel surface hardness, and its performance was quite comparable to standard fluoride. However, neither of the toothpaste was able to significantly prevent bulk enamel loss under the simulated GERD conditions, which suggests that the acid challenge itself is still highly aggressive. That says, this finding should be interpreted with caution, as this was only pilot study with a small sample size of 6 specimens per group, a 5-day protocol. This study was conducted under approvals of Human Research Ethics Committee and the Institutional Biosafety Committee at Chulalongkorn University. I would like to thank my advisor, Dr. Latishonok Nantanee, and Assistant Professor Somkamon Vanichvatana for their guidance throughout this research. Thank you.